You can really tell this tier 1 shoot house is gonna go based on if I can get this first kill right here. Yes, bingo. Alright everybody, welcome back to another video. We continue the grind for polyatomic. I believe I have 2 submachine guns left, and I go to about shotguns, launchers, and snipers, I believe, some of each. And this video is coming a little bit late in terms of like news that actually happened, but this video is going to be about the retirement of one Optic Scumpy. Now you guys might know who he is even if you aren't in competitive, because he's a very popular YouTuber as well, but more so competitively wise, I'm going to talk about him. So Scump was rumored to retire last year, and it came out that his teammate Shotzi wanted him to come back for one more run, and because they had a lot of things last year that were like inconvenient, like Illy being out of the starting lineup and stuff like that, he decided to run it back for one more year. So to see him leave mid-season was a little bit unexpected. I would say very unexpected, actually, especially with them just making the roster change to add Hook. And they look good in their first map. Now it's just one map, that could mean anything, but it's definitely like, I don't think a single person would have said like, oh, I expected this to happen, and I would just accuse them of lying. So that makes room to bring back Dashy, so I guess it works out for, I think everyone kind of gets what they want. Dashy obviously wanted to be on Optic. He just had, they have some issues that go both ways. There are two sides to each story, and I genuinely think Scump wanted to be done. And I can relate in a very different way with me when it was sports. When I was playing sports and I did not want to be playing sports anymore through high school, I was still a very, very good player, but I didn't work as hard. I didn't care. And I'm not saying he didn't work as hard or care, but I just think mentally it was really draining for him. And that part I can really relate to, whether it's like, especially when you don't like a video game. Like, we all can sit here and say like, he's so lucky to be a pro gamer, which obviously like, he's lucky, but it's hard work. But everything is a job. Like, I'm not one of these guys to sit here and be like, oh, gaming for YouTube is so easy. Like, all these people who do it are so lucky I could do that. It's genuinely hard. How is it as hard as some of these other 9-to-5 jobs? No, but every job comes with positives and negatives. And his, like, one that I don't look down upon at all is that I don't know what it's like to play a video game you genuinely hate. Like, there's games I played, I'm frustrated, but if I genuinely do not enjoy a game, I just quit. And Call of Duty is still Call of Duty at the end of the day, so he can enjoy competitive. But when competitive is not up to par of the last games and pubs aren't as fun for him to play, it makes streaming hard. And I know he's had trouble with being able to consistently stream and manage being a professional gamer at once. It's always been hard, but it's harder ever with the league and the set practice schedules and the higher competition. Like back in the day, you could kind of get away with it and he could just do it off raw skill. It's a full-time job. And again, this is stuff that I've just learned from the experts and speculated. Obviously, I wouldn't know. I'm not a competitive gamer. But yeah, he's done, and I kind of just wanted to not do like a thank you video, but just like, he was a big part of my life, and I've never been like, I don't really think I would be like, consider myself like a fan of any org. I've definitely spent more time watching Optic than any of the other orgs, just because they're always the ones who have the biggest platforms and the ones who stream and make content the most. So I definitely grew up with like Nadeshot and Scump a lot. And I've been watching competitive Call of Duty since Black Ops 2. I think whatever the event right after COD Champs was. I did not see COD Champs. My friend mentioned about, and I watched all the COD Champs VODs that they had on YouTube, and then was like, oh my god, this is amazing. But yeah, it's going to be really weird to see no Scump, and I just kind of wonder where it leaves competitive Call of Duty, because I know esports contracts-wise have been going down pretty much throughout esports from what I've heard. And I don't know if that means the numbers are down, or it's just like, for example, in Call of Duty, it's not that financially smart of a decision for a business to buy in. You don't make a lot of money. I don't think we're going to see a ginormous dip of like, because whenever you see Optic play, they have this mark, and the second they're not playing, they go down by quite a bit. And then whenever they're not playing, you see in the comments, when is Optic playing? When is Optic playing? And back in the day, that was like genuinely like people just tuned in just for Optic and would leave and never watch any more of the tournament. I'm not sure how much of that is actually like trolling or how much of that is actually like just Optic fans. And I still think we're gonna see that. Like, Optic is gonna get the most because they've done a good job. Obviously, Scump is Optic, Nadeshot is Optic, all these guys are Optic, but Optic is still a brand, and I don't think like guys like Shotzi are going to be able to drive in the exact numbers, because he has to be a little more consistent with streaming and still has to kind of find his way. He's still young, but yeah, you're still going to see Optic numbers be more so. But I just really wonder, like, is this the end of an era? Like, I can't really imagine anybody, except for maybe like not very hardcore fans in general, but that's going to play a big majority of like hardcore fans, of people who no longer will watch because Scump is not playing. I'm not sure how much people like have just been hanging on for him. I know I haven't. Like, I always watch for the other storylines and the other teams, but I'm curious to genuinely see the numbers. One thing I've seen people talk about, I've also thought about myself, and I saw Nadeshot bring up on his podcast, is like, we need other players to step up, and that's just not competitively. Obviously, like, I've always felt we need more rivalries, we need more storylines, whether they're fake and corny. Like, it's just better for viewers in general. It's something we had more back in the day. And Scump struggled, and he's been doing it forever with trying to balance competitively in YouTube and streaming. And I just think these pros need to dive into that more, just to make themselves like a name and have people who don't watch them as much stumble across them, whether it's competitively or otherwise. And I know there's some people, Octane's been streaming a lot, Pred has been starting to stream a lot, and I think eventually Pred will be on Optic from Seattle, so I think he will help. Shotzi's probably going to stream more, Dashy, but I think it should be like, and this is easy for me to say, I'm not competing and I struggle, let alone with a full-time job and YouTube. So I am just, this is all just from an outside person's perspective, and I would never call any of these people lazy because they're already doing one job full-time. But I think they owe it to themselves in Call of Duty to take advantage of the situation, and more so now than ever, try to create a platform, try to stream, try to get new people interested in you, be creative. Not only do I think it's fun, but I think it's good for competitive Call of Duty. We need multiple people, not just guys like Scump or guys that are Optic to be like, oh, he's playing, I'm tuning in, even if they're just a casual viewer. It is sad to see somebody like Scump retire when he's still so good, but I think that's better than the alternative to be like, in sports, I always hate seeing like guys who just a complete shell of themselves. Like, I remember watching Peyton Manning in the end, and he had neck surgery, so that was a little different, but just like, God, I've seen this one guy my whole life, and it's honestly just like sad. And it's like, you know, their mind's the same, but their bodies just can't perform, or like, I don't know what it is. Like, sometimes the motivation dies off, sometimes your body gives up, whatever it is. So I think it's better that we saw Scump still being amazing. I know that like makes it a little bittersweet, being like he could still compete. And I understand people being upset with the game, but like if Scumpy actually enjoyed the Call of Duties more, he would still play. And I think to an extent that's true. But the guy's been competing since what, 2010, 2011? I'm not sure exactly. Like, that's a long time to be doing something, especially when you could be clearly making more money, and I think having more fun, still playing video games for a living, just doing it as a creator. So that's why for me personally, I'm not that sad to see him retire. A part of me sad always because he was a huge part of my childhood and still adulthood. But I think he's just gonna have a way better time. And to be honest, that's what I want for people. Like, I selfishly, I want to see him compete. I love tuning into him and watching him go off, but I think I'm going to have a better time also myself just watching him stream Warzone more, dive into other games. Maybe he'll still play like competitive, but he just won't be on a team. Like, he'll still play the CDL mosh pit or ranked play whenever that stuff comes out. I don't know. I support him in pretty much whatever he does because I've just been given so much free content. Like, not having to pay for YouTube, not paying anything to watch these Twitch streams. Like, he's pretty much just given me, I don't know, 10 plus years of free content, and I'm forever happy about stuff like that and all the other YouTubers. But yeah, it's just sad, man. It really is the end of an era, but I'm happy for him. I'm happy for people around him seem pretty supportive. Obviously nobody wants to see him go, but I know he'll always be like a huge part of Optic. I think his brand is honestly only going to get bigger in terms of like, I think his streamings are going to blow up. He's always been so entertaining. Like, even when it was things like he won the Warzone tournaments, like just more stuff like that. Like, he's just gonna have such a better time, and I'm gonna be able to watch him more as an individual, not so much like overall screen time, because I'm not gonna be able to see him those hours he plays competitive. But I think he's just gonna be streaming a lot more. He's gonna be more creative with his YouTube videos, and I'm really excited about that. So sad to see him go, end of an era, but that's gonna be it for the video today, guys. I just wanted to give my thoughts on it because I do talk about competitive, and I do play competitive and watch competitive. So that's kind of my thoughts on Scumpy. So congrats on the retirement. Thank you all for watching. Now we'll talk to you all later.